And good Thursday. Oh my gosh. Here we are. It's me, Frances Reaves from Parent Your Parents, and Michael Miller.
Nice to be here. Nice to see you post-COVID.
It is with
it
our
is.
masks off.
And no divider here,
no
folks.
divider. We've been really handsy prior to this.
We used to do this on each side of the glass.
Now we can just do it like this. So, Michael, how are you? I feel like it's been forever since I've seen you.
It's only been a couple of weeks, and but the mood certainly of a lot of people around the country and people that I'm in contact. Oh, gee, these are all the ones that are going up. I know these are people that are going to be watching us.
Yay!
Yes, that's nice. So the mood seems to be elevated, and people are happier, right? And speaking of that, we just did a luncheon, and our speaker was former mayor of Miami-Dade County, Carlos Jimenez, who is now the congressman from Kendall, and he did a great job. We were doing a little plug for Pinecrest. We were in Pinecrest at the Evelyn Greer Park, and it was food and service provided by Anna Capri, 124th Street, 5th Street, and US 1. We had chicken.
Wow.
And a couple hundred people showed up, so we're very happy. And Howard, who's on over there, was there interviewing people as well. And it was very nifty. We're glad to do it. And we could see how happy people were to be gathered together.
I went to my first bar association. A bar is what lawyers call their association. It's a bar association.
Not this kind of bar.
Well, no, it's because we meet at those places. We meet at bars. So we just decided to call it a bar association. So we had Key Biscayne Bar Association, and just getting to see each other again. And it's just so nice to go up and grab somebody's hand or kiss them on the cheek, or, I mean, in fact, it was a 6:30 to 8 event, and at 8:30, the bar was still open. So it was good. But, COVID sort of reminds me, I was thinking about this. As you know, I'm writing my 2-minute warning. It has been, I'm now proposing, I have to do 3 book proposals for 3 agents. And so I've been thinking about who I want to talk about. And I think COVID really helped me solidify the idea of living. In other words, Dad had 3 martinis 2 nights before he died. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, in other words, Dad lived every day of his life. And I think COVID reminds us, or COVID reminded me, that, boy, that's what we need to do. And it doesn't, I mean, we all say that in our 20s, we all say that in our 30s, but as you, and I've quoted you in the book, Michael, say, kids are gone, last dog died. The time is mine. And so
I like that.
But it's what you said. Yep. It's totally what you said. And so I thought it would be interesting to know, I mean, because I watched you during COVID, besides help someone like me out. I mean, you never met me till this event started, till this pandemic started. But during the pandemic, I have watched what Miami Community News has done. I mean, you had to sort of, not as many people were advertising, which meant not as many of my columns were out there. But all that being said, you started the videos. Now, just personally, what else have you done because of COVID?
Well, a couple of things. One, because of this, which we did because of COVID, right? I've become such a much better person and much more well-rounded, understanding people of need, people of color, people of different religions, people of different intellect level, people that need help, people that were hopeless that are no longer hopeless, and people that were helpless that are no longer. Even though I consider myself prior to that being compassionate, and I had
and you had a reputation for that.
Yes, and I was in the medical arena for a long time and helping people. Because of COVID, I've never felt more fulfilled than I do now, right?
Oh, wow.
It is just an incredible thing to say, here's what we're going to do. And to have that faith that this is what you're going to do and it's going to work, right? And a year and a half ago, we sat with a little iPhone.
Yeah.
And I called up a company, hey, we're going to do this. You want to come over? It was like we're giving away free food. And I said, there's a thirst for this.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we recognize in helping other people, it helps them feel good. And when we help other people, it helps the people that they know, because when you have a smile on your face, you're able to give that to a lot of people.
Right.
And so you've taught me that. I do want to remind
didn't
everybody the
teach
way I
that.
met her, the first words from her mouth when we're talking
I
about.
did not teach Michael.
Yes, you did. You said that. She said, we're talking about your parents, and you said, Michael, seniors are having sex. And this is behind this big glass thing. And so I was sort of caught off guard. So of course I said, so does that mean I have to wait 5 years? And that was the beginning.
That is so true. That's one of the longer chapters in my book. There's so much to say.
So one of the things we've also learned is when we give opportunities to people, all right, for them to share their story, it means so much. And we recently had the volunteer president of the National Alliance for Mental Illness here, and she talked about her son who had a psychotic episode about 10 years ago. And after the second show, she trusted enough to ask her son to come in.
Wow.
And he came in, and he wrote a song, and he sang it, and it was You're Not Alone. It was a song. And as he's singing it, I'm sitting right over here bawling, all right? And I imagine him out on the streets, no shoes, having hallucinations, all right? And I just cried uncontrollably, all right, that we gave ourselves the opportunity to show somebody and to share with somebody something that was very private for them and their family. And so that's what I've learned, is that it's okay to do that. It's okay to do it in public, right? And it's okay to be real.
Right. Yeah, grief stays with us,
Yes.
and it comes at the most amazing times. It's funny because I have a stepdaughter in Portland, Oregon. So I visit 2 or 3 times a year, and I'm always in shock in downtown Portland. It's a little like Santa Monica. I don't know if you ever went there. They allow the homeless to just be wherever they want to be. And I mean, there's a part of me that says, gosh, that's so nice, except that I'm the one who has to walk around them because they're on every corner of downtown Portland, in front of every either Starbucks or Apple store. And none of those stores can go out and say, hey, guys, you're blocking the entrance, because unless they're in front of the door, they're not. And there's a part of me that wants to just go and give that group $20 and say, could you just go find yourself something to eat somewhere else? Or a part of me that says, why are these people here? And what is a solution for not having them here? And I feel as though you've created a solution with the videos and all your studios now. I mean, you have 2 or 3 shows going on at the same time.
As a matter of fact, I think Tommy's doing mainline Marlins right now in the back. Way to go, Tommy. Said you catch him on all podcasts everywhere. There you go, Tommy.
And it is, for me, it's been a time to, for instance, just today I heard that the Oxford AstraZeneca is the least wanted vaccine, and I'm not sure why. Were they the ones with the stroke, or was that Johnson & Johnson? But I mean, now it's all about the vaccine, and the African countries are saying, well, it's not fair. You always give us like the worst ones. If you're in sub-Sahara Africa, you're not going to get the Pfizer. And why shouldn't we have a choice too? And I agree with them. Why shouldn't they have a choice?
So you brought up about the people that are sitting out on the streets. You brought up about people that were, when we say in Africa, like as I think you're implying in poorer countries.
Poor countries, yeah. But of course, nor did coronavirus hit them as hard because they're much more used to viruses like Ebola. I mean, we've been HIV. That sort of kind of started all over there. And Ebola, HIV got here, but Ebola was almost a non-event in the United States.
So certainly one of the things that the vaccine or the pandemic did, it made us realize that there are certain classes, right? And it's obvious, much more than ever before.
Right.
Right.
And it's class.
Yes.
It's class.
Before it sort of blended in, and we ignored the guy at the front door, and we had that over there, and we'd hear all this craziness. but what you realize is this is one of the few times in the history of mankind that we're all having a similar story.
Right.
And what do we do about it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So one of the things what I learned is there are a lot of people out there that want to share and care about other people.
Mm-hmm.
I want to do a plug for Yolanda Berkowitz, who during this time she started Friends of. She's an animal lover. I
Oh,
forget the exact name of the charity. She recently arranged for funding for a travel veterinarian they will take that van with qualified people on it and go to the underserved areas where people cannot afford to take care of their dogs and cats, similar to what we as a community and as a world, to take the vaccine and deliver it and make. So here it is, right? It's the exact model. Yeah. We're going to go there and we're going to take care of these dogs and cats. Also, one of the things that we realize is the adoptions at the county facilities is way up. They have a 93.5%
I saw
live rate. Oh, there we go. Over there. There you go. Friends of Miami Animals. Thank you, Yolanda Berkowitz and your team. Thank you very much, Howard, for doing that. And cats, 91% chance if a cat goes there is going to be alive and adopted, and 93 for the pandemic accelerated that.
Mm-hmm. It's so nice.
We have four people that have started 6 months ago. They started bringing their dogs with them. The first one was like, what the heck? They're bringing their dogs, right? A little while later, there's some lady sitting here. She's got a little dog in the whole show. And I go, what? And then I realized that I've become acutely aware of more of the connection that dogs and cats have to their owners.
Well, I think that was pandemic too, because we adopted Darla December 29th of 2019. And then the pandemic started February and then March, real lockdown. So Darla thinks she goes everywhere with us, because we couldn't go anywhere. So she is just like a little miffed, and she knows like when I'm getting ready. And it was so funny. Like today, I almost thought, well, Mike's used to dogs now. Maybe I ought to bring Darla. But I didn't.
I do want to say that one of the bigger dogs did chew electrical cord in the back. Fortunately for the dog, it wasn't plugged in.
Oh my gosh. Just what you don't need. Well, on Key Biscayne, it's so funny. I was talking to the executive director of the community foundation there. Her name is Melissa McCon White. And she and I have been discussing the fact I found out yesterday in my exercise class that one of the trainers, one of the nicest guys on Key Biscayne, he had died 3 months ago. When they found his colorectal cancer, it was already stage 4. I mean, he got an extra year, but still, oh my gosh. And I was like, Boris died? How did Boris die? And worse, it was his wife who told me. She'd been at class, and I'm like, and so I call Melissa. First, I'm angry with Melissa. Why didn't you tell me Boris had died? But there were a bunch of people who died. My former minister at the Episcopal Church. I mean, no one could go to his funeral. And then we had all these volunteers who, during COVID, just stepped up for the elders. And as I was parking the car here, we were like discussing, we've really, we've just got to do it. We've got to come together and be positive with our volunteers and those who we lost.
So, and I think you bring up a really good point that the trauma that we may have occurred month by month over a period of years, all of a sudden we're doing this catch up of, oh my goodness, I didn't know. That's why there's so much social and emotional unrest right now, that people are being traumatized with, oh, I didn't know about that or this, or now that I'm safe, remember all these people that were lost. And so I think there is, and it's going to be for a while, people until it sort of all catches up. It's sort of like speeding up that recording, and then it finally catches up. And I think that's going to be for most folks.
I'm glad we're almost through this. I am glad, and I'm doing my best to respect the people who don't want to take a vaccine. I am, and I feel confident. I've taken my vaccine. I never really thought I was the kind who would get it anyway just because of my background. But nevertheless, it makes other people feel good that I've taken my vaccine. And so, I go anywhere I can. I notice your mask's optional now.
Yes. We had a
Thank
lady.
you, CDC.
Okay. So we had a lady come in, and she said, "Can I wear my mask?" I said, "Sure." I said, "Would you like us to put up?" So we put up a little thing here. And after a couple minutes, I said, "Everybody here has had their shots, all right?" And she hadn't. And we try to respect it as well. And as far as I know, I haven't heard, other than that one moment in time of somebody getting really sick from it. I mean, hundreds of millions of people have had this injection.
Yes,
right?
yes.
And so far, most of us have managed to make it through. So during this time, my son-in-law and my daughter bought a home in Coral Gables, and they have a swimming pool. So that means they don't come over as often, but we get to go over there. And the grandkids, this big, are great, right? And very happy for them, and sort of reminiscent, because the age that the grandkids are is the home that Susan and I moved into, the first one after that we bought together. But 30 years later, or so.
Oh, so they bought your old home?
No, the home that they bought, we moved in at their same age into our new. Into our home.
Oh, so it's like
there it is, the next generation. I'm looking, I keep confusing them. So which one are you? So, and we took the kids over to a park that's nearby, holding both kids, got them on the swing. Grandpa, go faster, go faster. I said, I'm not going any faster, pushing you. I said, because if you fall, it's going to be my fault. No, your dad, your mom can push you as much, but then it's going to go on me.
Yeah.
You know the way that goes down.
Yeah.
So here we are, first week of June or so.
It is.
2021.
It is the first week of June. Yeah.
And the last year, it's certainly been not quite a blur, but it's been a unique experience, and I'm glad that we so far have come out with our heads, still
we're still
high.
doing well.
Yep.
Yeah, we are. In fact, if anything better, I think everybody that I have been in contact with are more grateful, and as you said earlier, more open to doing more. Most people to doing more for more people. I have to say, I did have this one incident. I in my book, I mention real people who might recognize themselves. And I just, because I'm a lawyer, it's intellectual property. And if they're famous, it doesn't matter. But if they're not so famous, you kind of have to just double check. And this one not so famous at all person, I sent the paragraph I'd written, and he wanted me to add another paragraph. And it's like, you want to write a book on your life? You write the book. I was like, this is my book. How about a thank you? So that was sort of I think the trigger was just the old thing that it's never enough. You do your best. It's never enough. But last night at the Bar Association, where we were just getting together, just reminded me it's so good to be human. And it's so good to be alive. And yes, I'm in the very last, I'm over 60 of that. There's no doubt. And I'm really glad I'm here. And I'm glad I have the wisdom, well, actually, I don't have the serenity or patience.
I'm sure that didn't start yesterday. So tell us again about the book. The 2-minute warning.
Well, I'm so excited. I have finished. This is the hard part, finishing the outline. And here's the other thing COVID did for me as I was writing this book. It's all about living. Look, we already know we're going to die. I mean, it's a given.
Speaking of that, I want to thank our sponsor, Van Orsel Funeral. You like that? Yeah. Perfect timing. Thank you very much.
Are we glad we brought that up? But even dying can be done your way. And I'm sure Van Orsel can help you do that.
Yes,
in fact, I remember talking to Don. Yes. I remember talking to Don that time. And he was discussing all the different things people do now. It's much more open. Funeral, you can come in Halloween costumes. But I have really focused it on being the best that you can be. I mean, sex aside, although one of the agents really wants that chapter, sex aside, there's just so many things to do. A lot of people, it starts at the age of 40. Oh, you're over the hill. You're over the hill. You're not over the hill. I mean, the day you think you're over the hill, call Don. Okay. And he'll put you under if that's where you want to go. Because really, life is nothing more than a series of plateaus. You're just climbing to the next one. And honestly, this is what the book says. If you want to stay there now, if you're 75 years old and you want to read all the books you never got to read and eat bonbons by your picture window, do it. It's about your happiness, not about your kids' happiness, not about well, maybe the dogs. But
what's your dog's name?
Darla.
Darla.
From Little Rascals.
Maybe next month. How many pounds does Darla weigh?
9.
9.
Can
you hold it?
Little. Yeah, she's a little one.
Okay.
And she just loves everybody. And she's a rescue, and she was abandoned. So it's easy to let her off the leash.
How did I know about that?
Yeah, you missed her. Oh, were you an abandoned dog? You were the one, as I recall, who thought the dog was abandoned and it belonged to your next door neighbor.
That's true.
But you fed it anyway. What a good guy Michael is.
So again, we look forward from a business point here in getting more groups of people together, right? So we've been doing virtually for a long time. And so we're planning more and more groups and we realize there are people in our lives that are looking for leadership. And I think we have to provide that for ourselves and our family, right? And other people will come along for it as well.
Right.
A month ago, we had the mayor, Cava, from the county, first woman.
Yeah.
And
the luncheon you had, or that
was the breakfast with Cava,
breakfast.
with Mayor Cava, and then luncheon with Jimenez. We did that a couple of weeks ago.
It was an eating event.
Yes.
I should just call them eating events.
And I started to wonder how people are going to behave, right? So we put on the invitation, please comply with CDC regulations.
Yeah.
So here it is a month ago, people were really cautious, right? Even though when they were inside, we all pretended like the virus doesn't go down. Where you're sitting.
I love that. The virus stays all up here.
But people were so happy to get out. Right now, the really good news is online sales of groceries in April dropped pretty dramatically. That means people are going back to the store and making it an event. It's not just we need food for the refrigerator, right? And so it's nice to see that. All right, we're trying to get some of our folks to come back. All right, we have a couple of people that will never come back. They do work outside, and they've been doing it for a year, and it's working out. Right?
Yeah.
And everybody sort of gets what they want. But again, the way that we sort of see this, I think in each of us, we're going to have a couple of audiences. The one immediately here, and then the message is being sent to.
Right.
And in the funeral business, they do live stream and other things so that you can have people that are there, and then people from around the world,
right,
to do that.
I went to every wedding during COVID.
Is that because of the free food or what?
Well, I don't know. I just felt so bad for the bride and groom. So many people canceled. I flew to Arizona for one wedding. I flew to another place and in both cases, when I called just to check out what I was supposed to wear, the mother of the bride said, "Oh my gosh, you're coming!" I mean, it was like I got a corsage.
We have 20 of them. And you can have the whole table over here. So,
and I have to say, going to Publix, I don't know how many people do this, but when I leave my house, I put on that I'm coming to they know it because it's in my calendar. So my smartphone tells me, okay, you're with Michael Miller today, and you're going to arrive. Today it was 11:54, right? Except it started raining. And so it was 12:01, but nevertheless, so it tells me now when I get in the car again, it's going to tell me, all right, now your next stop is Publix over there, because that's what I do. I'm like, okay, now I go to Publix. And then the next stop is Miami Jewish Home because I go see Margaret. I go buy her cashews and her chocolate at Publix. And then I go see Margaret and I have the hat in the car.
See, we don't have to do much anymore.
I know, it's so amazing.
So the other day we were doing some shopping online on an iPad over here. And then I look at my phone. They sent me an ad. It's on my wife's iPad and they sent it over here.
Oh, no.
So we don't have to do much anymore.
I know.
Just set the stage and we're there.
Well, and you know what? I mentioned that in my book as well, because this generation, we are the baby boomers. And I'm trying to change the language. So we're the boomers. We're this explosive generation. We always have been. We're the free love people, the drugs, and don't trust anyone over 30 people. That's us. That's us. And now, as we're growing old, it's like, well, I'm not so sure we want to live in an assisted living center, or I'm not so sure, we want what our parents had. And there are a lot of places, and this again goes to privacy, where they will, it's this whole health and wellness movement. They put a chip inside of you that measures all your vitals. And people say, oh my gosh, it takes away my privacy. I'm like, no one knows as much about me as Nordstrom's. If I tried on something, if I brought it up on my screen and it goes on sale, boom, Frances, we knew you like this.
So, and that's the future, all right?
That's the future.
5,000 points of interest for most of us on the internet somewhere, whether it's from Nordstrom or Amazon.
Right.
And if you think everything that you order, at some point, somebody could predict what you're going to do.
Mitch Kaplan's doing it at Books and Books.
Yes.
Oh, we know you like this book. What about this book?
The people that bought this. We have a couple minutes left. I want to thank you for being with us and being with you on this other side of this pandemic. And I'm really, feeling good about our lives and where we're going. And it's nice to see your brilliant smile.
Thank you.
And
on the show on June 24th, Parent Your Parents, bring someone in once a month.
Yes.
We're having Dr. Corbett, who is the head of rehabilitation for Miami Jewish Health. And he's just going to talk about, I'm iffy on rehab. And so he's going to try and assure me that rehab isn't all bad.
Okay. So, and emotional mental rehab, I think we can end it for a while. We'd be okay.
That's true. Thank you, Michael.
My pleasure. And folks, where are we? Over here? Okay. Frances Reaves, Esquire. She takes care of seniors. You can read all about it, parentyourparents.com. And
Michael Miller, publisher of Miami Community News, Miami Community News.
Perfectly on cue. Way to go. Hey, folks, thanks so much, Howard. I'm sorry. Thank you.
Harold Howard.
All right. See you guys.
Bye. Thank you.